All right. Well, we're going to keep the train moving. We now have Mr. Brian Ross, candidate for Parish Council District 3. So thank you, sir, for taking the time. If you want to, I know I kind of stole your thunder. I'm sorry about that.
That's
if you want
okay.
to introduce yourself and let everybody know a little bit about you and why you're running.
Okay. Well, Brian Ross, as he told you already, running for District 3 for the Livingston Parish Council. This is actually my third vote for this, to be honest with you. And so I think that alone there has made it pretty clear that is not a whim for me. This is something I really want to do, obviously. I didn't just wake up someday and say, you know what? I don't like what's going on down the street, and I'm going to run for city council or parish council. I'm going to throw them out there. I'm going to go in there and fix it. Well, I think I've made that pretty clear. But anyway, I'm 54 years old. I opened my computer repair shop in 2005 after Katrina, right here in Denver Springs. Been here for, about 18 years now. Went through the flood like everybody else did. After that, after the flood, my business is still up and running, thank goodness, because a lot of really good people in the parish and the city, a lot of good clients. So my business actually kind of boomed a little bit. A lot of people needed my assistance a lot. So I'm probably one of the few people could say that, unfortunately, At that point, I bought another piece of property here in Livingston to move my business to, because it was a total loss. Like everybody else. Okay. And so I actually have a used car business too as well. Okay, auto sales now. So man, that's just a side thing though. What else? I'm married with my wife. She's a 24-year school teacher. We have 4 grown children we raised, and somehow we've acquired 15 grandchildren. 6 of them are going here, go to Livingston Parish schools. We're proud of them. They keep us busy. What else to tell y'all? Like I ain't done this before and I still get nervous, but guess that's it. Just shoot me some questions.
Well, you brought up that you didn't want to just say, well, it's because I don't like what's going on down the street.
Right.
And you said this is now your third time running. Why?
That's right. Okay. Well, look, I'm an avid voter. I'm very involved. I've always been a very conservative Republican. My voting record will show that. And I just personally see that a lot of things have morphed into other things, okay? Initially, I started running because of opportunity. I wanted to get involved with the community. So when the first time I ran for the parish seat, I wanted to get involved, and I seen an opportunity. Cindy Wales was not going to run again, and I met a lot of people since 05 when I opened my business here, that they got me. I learned so much about the community, like the people, things that go on, don't go on, how the workings were, and I started seeing things that I felt that maybe were not being done correctly, or I felt personally, I heard from the community that felt that they weren't happy with certain things, and I thought maybe somebody like me with the opportunity and the time, being self-employed, I had a free schedule, free time, and felt really knowledgeable about a lot of the input from the community, because I do so much work for the community, that I thought would make a good asset.
Okay. Kind of extending from that, you've met a lot of people as you've campaigned over the years.
Right.
You've spoken to them, talked to them. We're going to kind of get into what they've told you in a second, but as you enter your third attempt for this seat, right. What's your pitch? What are you telling people? What's different from past races? Okay,
I know it sounds like a pitch. It sounds like a line, or I say action instead of talk, but it's not. It's for real. Okay, we've been seeing this go on since you brought it up earlier about the master plan. Okay, by resolution in 2013. Okay, and then took 5 years for them to finally pass an ordinance. I think it was roughly 5 years. It's just the point is, nobody talked about it anymore, okay? It was a big subject when I came here 4 years ago when John did the Coffee with the Candidates thing before, and that was my issue there already. But here we are 4 years later, and they still now, because it's election time, we're going to talk about it. I personally feel that if this was done in the time frame it was supposed to be done, okay, the master plan wasn't something we just came up with. This was a well-mastered plan. I've read it. Everybody has, I'm sure, at some point. It wasn't set in stone, but it had a time frame. It had a lot of these issues we have now. We wouldn't be hearing about Deer Run right now. We would not be hearing about Deer Run. Deer Run maybe still come, but not the way it did. If we had regulations and zoning put in place. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Now, why is that it wasn't done? Because maybe there's some people just didn't want it to happen. That's all I could say there.
Yeah, there was definitely some pushback in the past. So that's, you want to keep things going as they come up, as opposed to them sort of stalling out or never getting finished.
Dude, make the hard decisions. Let's just do it. You know, let's stop being scared, worrying about next election that you don't get reelected. Go in there and do what you're supposed to, and the people like it or don't like it, so be it. Let somebody else take your spot. All I need is 4 years.
So as you travel the district, which, as we discussed with Ms. Castle, is areas north of Denham Springs, you go door to door, you meet people through your business, that kind of thing. What are the things that you're hearing from constituents, and how have they changed since the first time you've ran, if at all? Some have changed, not mostly commercial corridors. When you talk to businesses, you go up there, pretty much everything's, unfortunately, a lot of the people who own a lot of the businesses in town don't even live here. A lot of them live out in Prairieville and Baton Rouge. It's true. You know, go look it up. You'll get, and you're like, you know, why? Why is that? Now, as for, sure, everybody's complaining about this massive development and worry about drainage and everything else. And I get that. But again, if we followed the master plan did zoning, we wouldn't have any of these problems. But you asked me what's a little bit different. I guess not a whole lot's different, because I have the same answers for them as I did before. That I felt that people worried about flooding and drainage and all this improving. I know I'm sounding repetitive before, but it hasn't changed. You can't fix something that's broken. I mean, that's all there is to it. So, and then a lot of times people don't understand how drainage works. I'm no expert, but every time you bring new development in, okay, all of a sudden, let's just say in a perfect world, our drainage was perfect right now, okay, and everything just flowed wonderful. But all of a sudden, you want to build a 10-story building over here and a big mall over here. Well, you have to have some engineering done. You got to figure out how that's going to affect the drainage. So people just don't understand how drainage works. You got laterals, you get cross culverts. You got open ditches. People don't know. Some places you got to have open ditches. Some places you got to have culverts, or you can't. It won't drain probably. And then you got your cross culverts. People just don't understand how drainage works, so they complain about something they don't know anything about. So I think people need to be educated about how it works, and then they know what to complain about. So that was going to be my next question is, as you've heard these things over the years, some have changed, some have not. What would be your plan, should you be elected, to change some of that? And I mean, you can start with drainage, which you were just talking about.
Right. Well, I think, and I mentioned this too before, 4 years ago, that I felt that everybody's talking about this. I call it the master drainage plan, okay? Now, I think it should have been something that had been concentrated and implemented in the original plan. And it was talked about. And I think that was an excellent idea. And of course, I understand the problems with the flood, and who knew that was going to happen. So we'll give them a break. We had the flood, so I get that. So that's a good reason a lot of things didn't happen after the master plan. I get that. I'm a realist. But come on now, it's been 7 years since the flood. So I think we need to implement the master plan. And I think we should continue doing what they're doing now with these experts, that you should have had these experts 5 years ago. Like, they bring it up now because everybody's up in arms with pitchforks and torches. I have a feeling if nobody talked about it, we wouldn't be hearing about it right now. If it wasn't election time.
So, again, as we discussed with Ms. Castle, there will be both you and her running against an incumbent, but there are definitely going to be 6 new members.
That's right.
As you work with these folks, District 2 and District 4 surround you, and to a certain extent, District 7 and 1 off to the east What are you looking to accomplish? I think you just kind of alluded to it. You're looking for more experts to come in. The master plan has been accepted by ordinance.
That's right, finally.
And so how are you expecting to push that forward?
Well, we gotta free up and untie the hands of the people who are supposed to be implementing it. Okay, I mean, we hiring all these experts with the zoning. Well, zoning it's part of the master plan. I mean, so I don't know why they don't use the word master plan. Everybody talks about zoning experts, but that's the master plan. All is based on that. Your commercial corridors, your industrial corridors, So, so I don't know why. I don't know, for some reason that somehow it's a separate topic, or if the word that nobody wants to say master plan, I say it and people look at me like, oh, don't say that, So, but you want to know how I could help District 2 and 4, or how that would affect me, or
no? So the question is, as you go in with this, you'll be a new majority technically. There'll be a majority of new people,
right,
that'll be on the council. How are you looking to work with these folks to advance Livingston Parish, and to a certain extent, secondary question, your district?
Okay, well, I think as a whole, the council, I got a couple things to say about what needs to be done over there, and I'm going to propose. And I know it ain't going to be a lot of ain't going to like it too much, but it might help that if there is more than 6 new members, okay, that maybe we can do this. Waivers, okay. The council's job is to legislate. That's what it is. We're not the administrative body. We're the legislative body. We write. People call them ordinances. It's laws. People, let's just call it what it is. So every time you want a waiver, you want to circumvent the law. Call it what it is. Okay? The speed limit's 35, it's 35. Not 25 for you and 45 for you. So bottom line is, waivers are nothing but a word for circumvent the law. So a couple ideas I have with the new council, and I would think that even the current councils that are left will outvote them, okay? And I think we either remove waivers, except for extenuating circumstances, where every member of the council is going to say yes, because we're circumventing the law, okay? Now, if there's something wrong with the law, get rid of the law and fix it then. If you need to keep putting waivers, there's something wrong with the law, period. Another thing that I'm going to say, I know I may be off topic here. Another thing I'm going to say that needs to be done is absentee voting on the council. No more hiding that you're sick or you're in Disney World, okay? I wasn't going to say that. I probably shouldn't have said that. Okay? Because the Super Bowl ain't happened yet. But anyway, but I believe that we should have we have nine districts. Every district deserves a vote and everything that happens in the council. Everybody got voted by their constituents. There's no excuse for nobody not to be there. And if you can't be there unless you're in your deathbed, there's no reason why with social media, I'm with Zoom meetings. Look, we went through the pandemic for 2 years. The earth didn't stop, right? They should absentee vote. I don't care if there's a quorum. You end up with 6 people, you get a quorum. Now you only need 4 votes out of 9. So guess what? You want to vote on something? We want something to pass in the council. If they're not there, if they don't have internet, it doesn't get voted on unless you still get a majority of vote. No deciding vote should not be voted. Period. That's how I feel about it. Off topic, I don't know. I went on a tangent. I'm sorry, but
no, I just want to make sure that we're clear. You're alluding to the moratorium vote from about a month ago.
All of it. Everything should be
roughly 3 members.
There's no. That's right. There's no hiding behind. You look. Either you're going to represent the people or you don't. Vote the way they want you to vote, and guess what? You out. Somebody else thinks they can do a better job? Come on down.
So, follow-up question to that. Part of the ability to do Zoom meetings as a municipal body because of open meeting laws was part of the emergency declaration.
Right.
Would you like to push for, there will be all sorts of new legislators from Livingston Parish. In fact, every seat will have somebody new. Would you be pushing for something like that to allow people to Zoom in if they cannot be present?
That's right. But they have to have reason not to be there. We're going to have some way of saying, okay, I'm just not going to get out of bed. I'm going to vote for my bed. there's gonna be a legitimate reason for you not to show up for your shift at McDonald's. Okay, if I don't show up, I don't get paid. So, yeah.
Okay. So, moving
Doctor's
on.
note.
Development in your district is growing very quickly. A lot of open land on those north-south laterals.
That's right.
That's being bought up and developed. You've discussed the master plan, zoning, that kind of thing.
That's
right. What are your feelings on the development and that sort of thing? How do you believe it can be fixed?
Okay. We can't undo what's been done already. Some we can't. And I'm kind of allude back to the same thing I was talking about waivers. If you look at good legislation, okay, we've had I'm trying not to say Disney World again, but anyway, he talks about strict building codes. And you know what? A lot of them really are good, strict building codes, but not if you give them a waiver. What's strict about that? You know, it's either law or it's not. So if you look at some of the building codes, there are some good strict building codes. Lot size, they're already there in the books. I mean, they got them giving waivers for small subdivisions that were supposed to be 1 acre lots. They're 0.75 acre lots. And now they gave them a waiver not too long ago for a 0.4 acre. So waivers. So you know what? If we get rid of waivers, I think a lot of our strict building codes will actually restrict. You can't tell people they can't build on their land. I understand some people tell me, oh, well, we don't want them to build over there so we can drain onto their property. Well, guess what? That's my property, and I'm not a retention pond. That's my property. I want to build on it. I should be able to build on it. But build it under the strict building codes. And if the codes ain't strict enough, change the law. I mean, just fix it. You know, they're kicking it down the road. This could have been done years ago. But nobody wanted to because it just didn't fit in their scheme of things. Let's tell it like it is.
So you brought up drainage several times during that. Your district is encompassed by two
Right.
funded drainage districts, 2 and 1. So when we're talking about drainage, how do you, I guess, feel about it in your district, and how can it be improved? As you've said, you've had people complain to you already.
That's right. You know, I haven't had a lot of complaints about drainage while I've been campaigning right now in my district, to be honest with you. I haven't had anybody ask me to go look at their ditch. I really haven't. Of course, listen, the last 2 months, it ain't rained. So we have a big storm and all of a sudden it popped back in their brain. But so I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't had a lot about that. Just the traffic. Everybody's complaining about the traffic, you know, and when you talk about the drainage, yeah, this is where we go back to what everybody talked about 4, 8, 10 years ago. A drainage plan. And I agree, I get it's unfunded. Just because something's unfunded doesn't mean there's not a need for it. I mean, look, if you want to flush the toilet in your house, okay, but the street's clogged, guess what? Who's got a problem? You still got a problem because they don't have drainage out in the street. I know it sounds crude, but let's be logical here. You know, we're just going to have to do it. How do you fund it? Really good question. How do you fund it? You guess what? People complain about, okay, we're just going to have to put it on a ballot and vote for it because that's how things are done in a democracy, right? But unfortunately, the only way to do that is you're going to have to give everybody something they want with it. What that is, I don't know. But that's how Washington operates, unfortunately. You know, now there's been talk about the carbon capture thing. I don't really want to touch on this because it's kind of out of my realm a little bit, but I know a lot about it. And I understand the argument is it's coming anyway. Okay. Is it really? Or is people just done caved in and gave up trying to fight it? And I understand because the lakes and stuff are owned, we don't have control over that, but we do have control over the land around it. You know, and if we go back and look at our home rule charter, we are supposed to protect the people. Okay? That's our job. And then I have a feeling we're being sold out for money, and they're going to try to use that for this master drainage plan. So we won't flood, but we'll die of deadly gases if something ruptures. So I don't know. I had to say that because that's what it is. Sell us out for money. No flooding. Let's just see in a perfect world it works. And then we die from something we can't see. Okay. So
So currently, the council just recently extended the moratorium on Class 6 wells.
Good.
Class 5 is still in place because Judge Shelley Dick, who is the Middle District Court judge for at the federal level, ruled with the company.
That's right.
Because Lake Maurepas is state property.
That's right.
So the kind of and so Class 5, which are the data collecting wells, are still active. So you discuss traffic, which is a big deal in your area. A lot of it has to do with development. Same question we asked Ms. Castle. Would there be some kind of way you would like to go change how traffic impact studies are done?
Well, traffic impact studies is, here's the thing. It's like hiring anybody to do a job for you. The DOTD, and that's all state run. There's supposedly these people are experts and supposedly know what they're doing, right? So how do you tell, how does somebody like me, or a body of 9 people, who I'm sure very few of them have any, knowledge on them studies, how they're done? At least I honestly don't, to be honest with you. I ain't gonna lie. How are we gonna tell them how to do their job? So I think we have an issue. We need to go, it's like dealing with the DEQ. You don't call them, you call the department that's in charge of it, like compliance, for example. So if we're going to deal with DOTD, we need to call who funds DOTD. Let's talk to them and see if these people are qualified. And are we getting really good studies? Are they accurate? And to say they're not, now you're accusing people of being of something not copacetic. Who wants to do that? So I think our state representatives are the ones that are going to have to maybe somehow to see if we can have some oversight on that. Everybody talks about oversight. Everything needs oversight, but how do you oversight DOTD? I don't know, to see if they're accurate studies.
Well, that would be part of y'all working with your legislators.
Right. That's right. To see if,
So talking about, traffic impact.
Right.
What are your feelings on impact fees? And especially the newest one to come up would be over the last year or so, it was rediscussed at the council about a month ago, which would be school impact fees. That would be an initial fee paid up front by the developer as they apply for permits and build properties.
Right. Well, the impact fees, there's the thing about that. I had a serious issue with some impact fees not too long ago for a piece of property I bought. Okay. That had all utilities before it. It's sewer, water, electric. And then the next day when I went over there to see about getting it all turned on, they said, oh, well, no, you don't have no sewer, water, electric. It used to be there, but it's not there. So now you got to give us $3,700. And it was pay them $3,700 for a 0.63 acre empty piece of property, or I don't get nothing. So guess what? I had to pay it. Whip out the checkbook. So there's something wrong with that. Why did I have to pay that? So you know what? If I got to pay $3,700 for impact fee for 0.63 acres, well, they sure hell better be paying too, though. Otherwise, I want my money back. Okay. But there always impacts. Everything has I'm sorry, you going to say something?
No.
Everybody has impact fees for everything. And that's the bottom line. Now, I didn't pay a school impact fee, I don't believe.
No, this is a new discussion.
Right.
It's a new discussion. They're looking at roughly $7,500 per household as an impact fee. I believe that's split between $3,500 for transportation and $4,000 for education.
Okay. Well, let's keep in mind, that's a one-time fee, which means it's only a temporary fix. If there's a problem and if it exists and that amount of money would fix it, is it really fixing it or is it just a temporary fix? What are you going to do next year? They done paid all their fees. Okay. Now, some people could argue that they could take all them fees and use it to match some money to get a bond or something, to do what needs to be done, infrastructure, build a school or what have you. So I can understand the concept behind that. But it's such a number that, how do you come up with a number like that? Number one, that fee, that cost is going to get passed to the consumer ultimately. So we got to keep that in mind. People think, okay, well, I'm not going to buy that house, so what do I care? It's not going to cost me now the $7,500 for that house. But know what happens? It forces that's going to force the builder to build a smaller house, okay? So they can, which now people don't want smaller houses. Well, you guess what? Because if the house is too high, the people can't afford it. You got high interest rates. Okay, I used to be in the mortgage business. I wrote mortgages for a few years before Katrina. That's how I ended up in my computer business. I used to do computers as a second job. I did mortgages and computers was my side, my IT work. And then after Katrina, it flipped. Computers was my primary, and I did mortgages on the side. Okay? And I know how that works. If you can't, let's say today I can afford that $150,000 house. Well, the interest rates go up, and now that house is going to be another $7,500. Guess what? I can't buy the house no more. I'm going to have to move down the street to that other house now for the same amount of money a month. Get a smaller house for the same amount of money a month. So how do you do that? You pass in the cost onto the consumer, and there has to be some way to justify it. And you can't just put a number out there. You just can't.
So next question, kind of going in a totally separate direction. As we discussed with Ms. Castle, Livingston Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness is responsible for grant applications for the parish. There is a lady in the administrative office who does identify grants, but most of the applications go through there. What would be your plan as one of 8 and one of 6 new, or one of 9? I keep saying that.
Well,
you're one person with 8 others.
Right.
As one of 9, or you're one of 6 potential new parish council people.
Right.
Should you be elected, how would you try to legislate and push for more grant applications?
Well, it's like I do a lot of things. I research myself. You know, I mean, look, I'm almost self-taught in a way. You know, you can find anything on the internet. Bless you. So how do you do that? You gotta educate yourself. You gotta know how it works. You know, people want to talk about bonds and grants and all that. Well, okay, sounds good. Well, how does that work? Well, you're borrowing money. Okay, I mean, when you get a bond, a grant, saying you get to match funds, because, well, everybody says federal dollars, but ultimately where it comes back from, you know. I think we need to really don't expect one person to sit there and research and do all the legwork trying to get grants. I think as 9 people on that body, including even the administration, because they're part of the administration anyway, the writer. So that is the administration. So I think collaboratively we can help each other. I mean, I consider myself pretty smart. I could probably learn that overnight, you know, if I concentrated on it.
So you're saying that you would like to push for more of the parish council people to at least be involved in bringing ideas forward and trying to get the administration to do the same.
That's right, because you hear too many times at council people like, well, I didn't read that, I didn't hear about that, I don't know about it. Let me think about it. Let me go research that a little bit. I mean, come on, man. You know, the city of Denham only gets like 24 hours to know what's their agenda. You know that, huh? 24 hours. It's 24 hours. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the city of Denham, it doesn't get shoved 24 hours, shows up, you know, what their agenda. We got way more than that. It's enough time for you to look and see what you're going to be put in front of you when you go to the council meeting.
Yeah, open meeting law requires at least 24-hour notice.
And that's all I got at City of Denham.
So last question would be animal control. You could call Denham and Walker have somewhat robust systems. They both have new facilities, funded, that kind of thing. Also, as Ms. Castle brought up, they have members of the community who participate
They do. I mean, that's
very heavily. What would be your plan as this has come up as in the last 2 or 3 years is a very serious issue?
That's right.
With animal control parish-wide.
It was an issue that was talked about before. And not to repeat myself, and the shame of it, like she said, they have one meeting and it was over. You don't hear about it no more. Every time election cycle, it's smoke and mirrors. Let's bring out animal control and all this other stuff to distract people from all the other issues. Okay, and then after the election, they don't do anything. Like Allie said, one meeting, and so and you can't reallocate funds. We all know that. It's another tax. You can't, unless you want to somehow make an amendment on a ballot to amend the existing tax to try to reallocate or allocate a certain amount of that millage money to go towards animal control or something else. So if you don't want it to be a new tax, you somehow have to create an amendment to that. And the people got to vote on it. We all know that. So.
Okay, well,
it's a good idea, but is it going to pass? I don't know. Maybe so, because some people are like, well, the sheriff's office is getting too much money. So, yeah, let's do an amendment on the ballot, and then we take some of that money and put it towards a need. So,
yeah. Would you be willing to propose such a thing?
Sure, I would. Yeah.
So you've got 1 minute if you'd like, I can ask one more question, or you can kind of wrap it up. It's up to you.
Guess you can ask me another question before I say something.
Fair enough. So recently, actually, when I say recently, this literally happened last 2 nights ago, Thursday,
really?
At the parish council meeting. They're having difficulty with, I'm not going to bring up the specific company, but commercial trash.
Yes, I know it. I watched it. I've seen the meeting. I watch all the meetings.
So when you talk about that, one gentleman walked up and suggested that there's a litter ordinance, which there is. Another person said, actually a member of the council said, let's send them a letter, and if they don't respond, let's go after them. What are your feelings on
I don't think there ain't no letter. They've been warned. You just go, look, there's the law. You know, that's like another waiver. Okay. All right, I'm going to throw some litter out the window, and the cop's going to pull me over and say, you don't worry about it, I'll give you a waiver. All right, do it again the next day. The cop's going to go and give me another waiver? I don't think so. Guess what? He's writing me a ticket. So guess what? This is not a new problem. They even said it themselves amongst the whole council last night. Everybody, not just that $1. We said you didn't want to say it. Okay, but several of them. And I'm sure there's other businesses, too, with similar issues. I don't understand why they don't even have closed trash containers anyway. I mean, so it wouldn't blow away in the first place, but whatever. I don't know about all that. I don't know how the workings is Dollar General, but go ahead and fine them. I mean, look, the law's there. They've been warned. How many times they're gonna keep giving me a warning? They're not gonna write me a ticket. If I get caught with no inspection sticker, they don't even give you one. You're getting a ticket. Okay, so that's how I feel about that. The law is the law. That's it.
Okay, well, if you'd like to take a second to reintroduce yourself and let people out there know how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, Brian Ross, candidate for Livingston Parish District 3. You're going to reach me at 225-665-9547. That's a one number for all my businesses, my cell phone and all. Just look me up, come see me. My door's always open. You want to come by and talk, or call me up and I'll come to your house and visit with you. The more people I meet, the better. And I appreciate it, and I appreciate your vote.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you taking the time. So that is 3 down. Next we'll have Travis Tharp, candidate for Parish Council District 6. We're going to come back to you in about a minute.